with Daryl Powell, the head coach of Wakefield Trinity. And Daryl, it's fair to say that in 2025, you were everybody's guilty pleasure into the top six. It must have been a dream debut season back in Super League for Wakefield.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I thought we looked at the fixtures initially, and it was a tough start. And we got out of the blocks pretty well against Leeds, and then we played well against OKR, and then continued really to maintain a pretty consistent season. I think that we had some ups and downs like you do. Didn't really handle St Helens too well. Apart from that, I was really pleased with what we did. I was a bit disappointed at the end there against Lee, but overall it was a great first season for us, and it's given us a good platform for where we're going to.
You say you were unlucky, you weren't good against Saints, but you were unlucky as well in a couple of those games. Let's not forget that, I thought. But no, I mean, look, some of your signings last year really played dividends as well. Your recruitment was excellent, and again this year, you've not made many changes, but the changes you have made have really bolstered the squad, hasn't it, going into 26?
Yeah, I think it's always tough when you've had players for a couple of years, and that you decide for whatever reason, or they decide that you don't fit anymore, and then what you do next is important. Obviously, we signed a lot of young players from just beneath the NRL the previous year. People like Caleb Hamlin-Ueli, Kai Rodwell, and they've done pretty well for us. But then, we felt like we probably needed to step up the search a little bit. So Jazz and Tyson, really, Jazz Tavega, Tyson Smoothie are the two who sort of headline what we've done from a recruitment point of view. Tyson's still pretty young, 25, playing in 2 grand finals, so he's got good experience there. And Jazz is couple of things really. We wanted some personality. Liam Hood was leaving us, and he's got a fair bit of buzz about him, and we wanted to replace that. We think we have done that with Jazz. And then as a player, just high energy, played in international games at the end of last season, high quality player. So yeah, we feel like we've done a good job. You never know until you get into it, but at the moment we feel like we've improved our squad from last year, and I also feel that there's a lot of development in the current squad. Players that have got probably 5 or 6% improvement in them incrementally over a year, and I feel like the way that pre-season's gone, I can see that in those guys. So it's quite exciting to see what it all looks like.
Well, your depth of squad's superb. I mean, when you see somebody like Lachlan Walmsley at number 19 and what he did for you last year, you've got really good depth. But you mentioned there 2 of the incomings. I mean, there's a massive push around Tyson Smoothie. There's no doubt about that. But also, like I say, Jez, who, let's be low centre of gravity, very, very evasive. He's going to bring a lot of focus on Tyson, but I think Jez could be one of those players that really kicks in this year and will catch people off guard.
Yeah, he's a high energy player, both sides of the ball. He's got great feet. He can play 9, can play 13. I don't expect we'll see him too much at 9 with us. I think he's more a 13. He can pass the ball. More, what I like about him most is the way he carries the ball. And I think you look at the way the game is potentially going to be refereed. Wait and see how that develops, but. The initial signs are Ruxby is going to be a little bit quicker. If you're not good in contact, then you're going to end up dealing with a game that is going to be very difficult to manage from a defensive perspective.
He loves second the line on, doesn't he? And that's, as you say, with the new rules and interpretation, that's going to be really, really key. I mean, from your perspective, obviously you want to stay in the 6, but around you, I mean, I think the race for top 6 this year is going to be fascinating because everybody's improved the squad. You've improved your squad. FC, Warrington, Catalan are going to be a massive unknown with the amount of recruitment that they've done. From your perspective, how excited are you about the new comp and that level of competitiveness? It can only be good for Super League this, can't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think getting rid of the loop fixtures is another one. The fixture list just looked so unbalanced last year, and we were playing teams 2 or 3 weeks alongside each other, which sort of didn't make sense really. So the new teams coming in brings a bit of excitement. I took the train from York today. One of the the guys who work for LNER was talking to me about York, and he's not he's a football fan, but York coming in and that sort of vibe around new teams. Bradford being back in, Bradford in the day were an iconic team really. And Toulouse, it's an interesting vibe I think this year. And like you say, everybody's wanting to improve. Everybody's wanting to shoot for the six. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Cass have, got a new coach, a lot of buzz around them. Lee, they did awesome last year. They were up there shooting at it all. Just, it was us and them most of the year last year, and then we just managed to be good enough at the end. So yeah, it's going to be great. I think Huddersfield have had a rebrand, haven't they? They've been unleashed. So
well, hopefully they're fitter. I mean, they had terrible luck. Warrington had terrible luck last year, injuries, and you know me. We go back to your Warrington days, and as a fan of the game, regardless of colour or creed, we want the best players week in, week out. And I know it's a contact sport, and we can't have that. But from your perspective, as a coach, you want to go up against the best, don't you? Your boys want to go up against the best. So hopefully this year, the likes of Huddersfield, Warrington, and the like have a better year where injuries concerned, and we can have a stronger competition.
Yeah, no, it's difficult with injuries, but obviously, as you mentioned, that challenges your depth. Then what have you got? What are your young players like? That's where teams like Wigan and St Helens have been, and Leeds have had sort of. They've had the better kids over the last few years. They've put more emphasis on that. I think Warrington have gone heavily towards that since slightly just before my time, really. So there's some high quality young players there. They let Dufty go and put the faith in Kai Taylor-Ray. A young player there. So there's an interest around the game. I think the way the new rules are going to evolve. That's going to be interesting. So it's going to be a challenge. Should be a great season. Looking forward to it all. And obviously we're just around the corner now. I'm not sure about putting the Challenge Cup right before it, but it is what it is. We've got what we've got. We just have to deal with it.
And like I say, I think you've got the firepower for those new interpretations. Before you go, I said I did a couple of press conferences with you last year, and I was delighted for you personally on your return to Super League, how well you did and your team did, but also a couple of your players. The year that Wakefield got relegated, Max Jowett perhaps wasn't at his best. Mason Leno that year perhaps wasn't at his best, but they came firing back in 25 and really showed everybody that they are Super League players. If they can carry on with that, with the new recruits as well, you should go well. How delighted were you for those two in particular, off the back of what was a disappointing 24 for them?
Yeah, Mace was an interesting one because we signed Ollie Russell, and he got a bit of a slap on the face there, and it was his squad number, so he had to respond, and that's sometimes coaches kind of do that on purpose, and. I know Matt was into him a little bit as well, and he responded in an unbelievable way. He had an awesome, played every game, had an awesome season. Max was class, I thought. He had a little bit of a dip towards the back end, but then came back, then got knocked out, couldn't play in the last game. He's such a classy player, Max, that I'm expecting. He's had a big pre-season. I think he's worked really hard. He looks in great shape. So I think both those players will have big seasons again. I think Truman. Yeah, he's a pretty special player, Truey, and the pre-season that he's had, if he can stay fit, touch wood. He's as talented as anybody else in the comp, if I'm honest. And please God, he does stay fit. He's had some shocking luck with injuries, hasn't he? Jay Truman, as far as Matt's concerned, he's got Josh breathing down his neck as well, so that's not a bad thing either. But before we went on camera, and I know that people who watch us will know, obviously, your grandchild, I inquired with regards to how things are going there, and just for my followers, because they will be interested, how's the family, how's the grandchild? Yeah, Clark's good. He rang the bell, so he's in hospital for 6 months straight, which was really challenging for the family. His mum and dad were alternate nights. They've got another child as well, a daughter, and she's full of it, Reva. So that was really tough for the family. But Clark's in a good place at the moment. He's just like any normal 2-year-old, charging about, getting up to no good. Loves dinosaurs, T-Rexes in particular. So Yeah, look, thanks for asking. He's good, and pray to heaven that stays that way.
Well, we all do as well. We wish you and your family nothing but the best of luck. Go well in 26. Always a pleasure to see you. Take care, Daryl.